Alright, we're back for round 2 of the Legacy Daily, and we won the die roll, so we'll be on the play. I'm going to keep this hand. It's a little risky. We do need a mana source or two, as well as a show and tell to put in the Gristlebrand, but we have a lot of ways to protect ourselves and slow our opponent down, assuming that he has spells in his deck that aren't creatures. I don't really like forcing things early on, but it all just depends on what he does. Misty Rainforest, fetching immediately. Probably a Ponder. Maybe a Delver. Maybe a Nimble Mongoose. Volcanic Island into... Oh, Delver. I really want to Force a Will this, honestly. It's just going to buy me a lot of time to do so, and I don't think we're going to be able to use our Spell Pierces all that easily if he's disrupting our mana. And if he forces back to try to stick the Delver, okay, well, we'll pay for days. Interesting. Seemed like a pretty useless days. Alright, well, our opponent made a pretty big misplay there, because Force of Will does not cost mana to use. Alright, well, we drew another land, but we don't have anything to do with it just yet. Looking to draw a Show and Tell or Brainstorm or something. Basically, I'm going to be using this Force of Will as a last resort to protect our combo, I believe. I'm going to let this one resolve, unfortunately, but I think we kind of have to. Right, drew another land. Not good. Alright, well, let's hope that he doesn't flip it. Starts attacking us for 1. Now, if he tries to Brainstorm on upkeep to guarantee a flip, I may Spell Pierce that to slow him down. Although he still has the raw potential to natural flip even if I do Spell Pierce. So now we drew the necessary lands needed to cast a Show and Tell and play around to days, or to also play a Spell Pierce on backup. But the Delver can be a pretty significant clock, especially when combined with things like Stifle, Wasteland, Spell Pierce, things that can disrupt us. It's possible that the Force Will was a little aggressive, but luckily he burned a daze, which was nice. Alright, puts Delver on the stack, and doesn't look like he is flipping it or casting anything to try to flip it, so that's nice. Alright. Get in there, Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. Now if he ponders here, there's a small chance that I daze it, or sorry, that I Spell Pierce it to just try to keep his Delver from flipping. And by small chance I mean incredibly large chance, because that's exactly what I did. Basically just wanted to keep that Delver from flipping to buy some more time. Alright, well, let's keep playing our lands, since we'll likely need them to play around all of his soft counter magic. Now we need to draw something to put this Gristlebrand into play. Now, a cool trick with Delver which you can do is if the top card is not something you want to draw after you look at it with Delver Secrets, you have the option to shuffle it away with the Misty Rainforest. However, if it's a creature that can continue to put additional pressure on me, it's likely that he's going to keep that in his hand, or keep it on top like a Tarmogoyf or something, so he can start hitting me for a bigger chunk. I don't really want to Force a Will a Tarmogoyf. Ooh, Tundra. Stoneforge Mystic. So this is blue-red white Delver. Okay. Now, Stoneforge Mystic can be a little problematic, since if I Show and Tell put in Gristlebrand, he puts in Batterskull, then it's going to be a little awkward. I really hate using my counter spells to interact with his things as opposed to forcing my combo through, but I don't know. I think it's better to just try to buy myself time here. I could be wrong. I could be just playing this game really badly, but I don't think there's a whole lot else I can do here. I'm going to hold this land. If I draw a show and tell, I'll play it and then play around Spell Pierce that way. And he continues. Okay, so he flipped and he revealed a Source of Plowshares. So that is going to be able to take care of the Gristlebrand, but I will be able to draw 7 off of it. Should I be able to put it into play? But it is not certain that I will be able to do that. Alright, well. Wasteland into True Name Nemesis. Yeah, that's okay. I choose you, Strong said. Well, didn't draw Show and Tell or a way to dig for it. So, taking 6 here down to 7. Now we can no longer draw 7 in response to Plow. I think we're actually just gonna die. Alright, so it looks like he's gonna cast and equip Jite, since he was tapping his Wasteland. Yep. Alright. This is pretty problematic. I don't think I'm going to win this game. But I didn't draw a way to put my guy into play anyway, so using my counterspells early to slow him down was fine. Alright, and we're dead. Sometimes Sneak and Show just does nothing and dies. It is definitely a problem. Alright, so we're bringing in the Boseiju and the Pyroclasms, and I don't really like Through the Breach in this matchup. Omniscience is also pretty bad. They usually don't have Caracas, so I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, I mean, they have Wasteland and Counterspells, so having an extra land on Boseiju is fine. Helps me resolve Show and Tell, which is the more important one. Sneak Attack can be pretty difficult to activate, or to cast through his soft counters and also activate in the same turn, so I don't think I have the resources to justify Gitaxian Probe being in the deck anymore. His deck's pretty fast, has a lot of burn spells, so we're going to trim those and just go like this. Alright, back for game 2. Yeah, this hand just doesn't do anything. No dig spells. I mean, I can draw a Show and Tell or Sneak Attack, but I mean, I'd be taking the same gambit as last game, and his deck does not give me the time to do that, so I guess I keep this. Alright. Go ahead and play the Lotus Petal. That way, if for some reason we do want to Brainstorm next turn, we have the ability to play around days if we want to. Not that I absolutely want to or anything, but alright. Well, let's hope he leads off here with like a Ponder instead of a Delver. Who am I kidding? They always have Delver. Yep. Alright, well, I'm going to just draw instead of into turning the Brainstorm, but I'm going to go ahead and crack and get an island. Can hopefully fetch up Volcanic Islands later. So we're going to put back a couple of G-Brands, and hoping that one of these two sneak attacks resolves. I think I'm just going to jam the sneak attack next turn. Alright, so he revealed Ponder off his Delver. Now, if he doesn't have another land, he could potentially just not cast the Ponder, but I mean, as you can see, this is a very good draw from a Delver deck. Turn 1 Delver, or I mean, it might not be that good, like, honestly, like, if he doesn't have a counterspell in hand, but he can potentially Ponder and find them, so turn 1 Delver into natural flip is just as good in Legacy as it was in Standard. Now, the next time I fetch, and also with this other Scalding Tarn, I am almost assuredly just going to get 2 copies of Volcanic Island, forcing him to have 2 copies of Wasteland to be able to keep me off of activating my sneak attack. But we're not going to fetch until my turn, I think, and to see what he does. Alright, well, he played a second Volcanic Island. Ponder. Now that's just, I don't know. That's just like telegraphing a Spell Pierce, I think. But I think I do want to fetch. I'm kind of hoping to draw a 2-mana land next turn. Alright, we'll go ahead and get a Volk. Tarn for another Volcanic. And go for the Gusto. Who knows, maybe he just doesn't have it. Seems doubtful, but we don't have a way to protect, and he's got pressure on us, so I think we just have to go for it. The biggest beating would be if he untapped and then cast Wear Tear, but alright, Brainstorm in response. Hopefully he just stone misses. Wow, it resolved. Okay, well, hopefully he doesn't have anything, and we get to try to kill him next turn. There's a small possibility I actually wait to put in Gristlebrand until his attack step, if I don't hit an Emrakul off of the Ponder. Since he's going to put me to 11, I guess activating Sneak Attack to go and then draw 7 down to 4 means he has to have double Lightning Bolt to kill me. I'll probably still Ponder first just to see what's on top. Maybe I'll draw Spell Pierce or something and I can counter one of the Lightning Bolts. We shall see. Yeah, one thing that I love doing is, well, he's got 1 Wasteland, so unless I draw a land, the whole thing I was talking about with Ponder into Spell Pierce is not going to be a thing that we can afford to do, I don't think. So, alright, well, we're at 11. We drew a land. We'll go ahead and play that. Cast Ponder. Just a bunch of bricks. We'll shuffle those. Now, a safe play here would be to attack first and then draw 7. So I think I'm going to do that to play around Lightning Bolt or double Lightning Bolt. That'll put me to 18. Then I could potentially draw a Spell Pierce or something off of the draw 7. Alright, well, we drew a Spell Pierce and a Force Will and a Gristlebrand, so I'm just going to pass turn, move to discard. I don't want this Ancient Tomb or this Sneak Attack. Alright. Let's try to not die. Now, if he attacks before doing anything, we can actually put in the Gristlebrand to block, and that effectively plays around double Lightning Bolt as well. Assuming he doesn't have Stifle, but most of those decks don't play Stifle, so. And since we have the Emrakul to just kill him next turn, I think that is the correct play. And we don't need to draw 7, so there's going to be none of that going on after blocks, I don't think. Obviously it depends on what he does, but we are going to try to gain 7 life and kill his Delver. Pyroblast targeting Delver. That's more than fine. Alright, so our Gristlebrand's going to die, and then we're going to hit him with an Emrakul. Big Papa. Alright. take, it's 15? Okay. He's at less than 15, so that's good. Alright, let's go back to the sideboard. So, even though he just had nothing, that game actually felt gross. Like, very close, you know? I'm not sure what all he had in his hand. I guess he had the Power Blast, but he drew into it off of the... Or no, he had that when we cast the Sneak Attack, so... that was the card that I said smelled like Spell Pierce, but it turned out to be a little bit worse in the situation that we were in. So that's good. I believe I'm going to keep this current configuration. I don't think I have to worry too much about all the other things in my deck, so... Alright, so we're back for game 3. I'm going to keep this hand since we have the Ponder and a lot of mana as well as a Spell Pierce, and kind of hope he doesn't play a turn 1 Delver. He's also in the mulligan, which is good. This Boseiju, hopefully going to ruin his day. That's the dream, so to speak. Now, even though we have 2 Force Wills in hand, saying that we have double force backup is a little misleading. I'd assume that worst comes to worst, I'm just going to pitch force to force. And I may force a turn 1 Delver if he plays one, since we have the Boseiju. I'm not quite sure how to sequence my turns just yet. We have to play a very reactive game against Delver. And hopefully we'll just draw into a show and tell and a big guy, and then he won't really have the tools to answer that. Boseiju is pretty powerful against them if they don't draw Wasteland. If they do draw Wasteland, I'm actually okay with him hitting the Boseiju in this hand, because we only have 1 colored source, which I don't know if I want to fetch Volcanic or if I want to fetch Basic Island. I assume Basic Island, as the Boseiju will put an emphasis on to show and tell rather than sneak attack. It looks like he mulled to 5 though, so let's see what he's got. Now, if 3 of his 5 cards are Land, Delver, Daze, and I get my Force of Will dazed, that could be a little awkward. But I'm kind of hoping he just dirtles around trying to dig for a threat, and then we get to have enough time to actually play our lands and play our Ponder and dig for some action. Alright, so he takes a look at our hand with Gitaxian Probe, going to 18. And Delver. Yeah, we'll just get him out of here. I don't really want to hold on to the Spell Pierce, and I want to hold on to the Force Will in case I draw another blue spell. So, and if he is dazing us, I guess I'll just let this one, or I'll just let the Delver resolve and just hope it doesn't flip too quickly, because we do need this Ponder to try to dig into ways to actually kill him. I don't want to 4 for 2 myself and have us both mulligan to 5 essentially. Basically be his 3 random cards in hand versus my 3 lands. Maybe that's fine. Maybe that is okay. I'm gonna go for it. I haven't really taken this tactic too often, and I think with him on the mulligan to 5 and... Alright, well, we drew Sneak Attack. We're going to go and lead with Boseiju. Next turn, probably play Tarn into Ancient Tomb and then cast Sneak Attack, depending on what he does. But we have mana. Hopefully he doesn't have another Delver. If he does, then that's fine. Ponder from him. Trying to dig for some action. An interesting game. I don't think I've ever double Force of Will a Delver on turn 1, and we basically undid his mulligan for him, which is a little awkward, but we are on the draw, and we can kind of afford to do that, and we have enough mana and enough resources, so, well, we drew a fatty, that's good, and honestly, if he doesn't wasteland me, I am just going to jam the Sneak Attack, but personally, I would much rather have just drawn a Show and Tell. Alright, well, it looks like he's going to Stoneforge and go get a Batter Skull. And now I just have to hope he doesn't have Daze. Alright, so we went and got Umezawa's Jite, so that means his other card is likely Batter Skull, unless he sided it out, or he has one unknown. And we even drew a Volcanic Island. Awesome, so we can go get Volcanic Island. We're probably going to get it Wastelanded, but then we get to hopefully Emrakul him the turn after that. Now, Boseiju does not keep Sneak Attack from getting countered, so there is the danger he had Daze. But I think that his last two cards were just Batter Skull, Jite, and a random, so it had to be Daze. Now he's probably going to Wasteland or Volcanic Island, meaning that we're probably going to get to blow him out with the Emrakul. Could potentially have Wear Tear, but yeah, it looks like he just has the one land, so we're just going to blow up his board. We don't want him to potentially draw into another Wasteland and cut us off of red. We could have maybe actually sandbagged the Volcanic Island and then waited a turn or two to Emrakul him until he drew another land. But, I mean, that can be dangerous. You know, if he does draw a Wear Tear to be able to kill the Sneak Attack, or Pithy Needle, or something like that, it could be really bad for us. We're going to hold on to this island to potentially shuffle away with a Ponder, or sorry, with a Brainstorm or something. Got a couple of Pyroclasms to protect us from future Delvers. Not a whole lot going on from either side, though. We are just looking for a creature. Alright, so he gets Volcanic. Maybe it's Delver number 2. Alright, we're just going to Pyroclasm that away more than likely. Yeah, we don't want to take any damage, so we're just going to play our island. And if he forces, that's fine since we have the backup Pyroclasm for next turn. But, yeah. I suppose there is merit to leaving up Ancient Tomb. Okay, this is actually a really good point here. So he decided to Force a Will it, putting him down to 1. Well, he revealed a Stoneforge Mystic on accident, but we're going to go ahead and play... Well, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we can kill off that Delver. The Ponder can dig us into a card deeper next turn, and if he draws a fetch land, he can no longer use it. That was the thing I was going to talk about a minute ago. So, alright, well, Wasteland was probably the best draw he could have there, I think. So we need a red source and a fatty, which we got both. Alright, well, we're going to keep the Volcanic. Not going to play it till next turn. That way, if he draws another Wasteland, he can't hit it. We'll just hold the Ancient Tomb. He can't click us, doesn't play discard spells, doesn't play Stifle, can't fetch, so... It's a world of pain for Mr. Blue-Red-White Delver. Put in Mr. Emrakul. It looks like we are going to hit him for 14 extra points. That's a good man. Good man, Emrakul. Alright, well, that is round 2 against Blue-Red-White Delver with Sneak Attack, and we'll be back for round 3 shortly.